Today we have yet another Republican committee chairman who is choosing not to run for re-election this fall. This one is a name that you might have heard before. It's Trey Gowdy, who is probably best known for his chairmanship of the House Benghazi Committee and also his new boy band hairstyle. And so he is out, and he put out a statement. We're not going to read the whole thing because it's just terrible. But we're going to read part of it. He said, "I will not be filing for re-election of Congress nor seeking any other political or elected office. Instead, I will be returning to the justice system. Whatever skills I may have are better utilized in a courtroom than in Congress, and I enjoy our justice system more than our political system. As I look back on my career, it is the jobs that both seek and reward fairness that are most rewarding. Yeah. There is a time to come and a time to go. This is the right time for me to leave politics and return to the justice system."
Okay, so there's a number of issues here. Some are similar to other Republicans who have retired, and some are distinct for Trey Gowdy.
Yes.
So one thing that is different, he's now, I think, the 36th person. They have different counts. I don't know why. But one article says 34, and another one says 36. Republican to say they're not coming back for another term, retiring, resigning, some in disgrace, some because they're going to lose their elections, most because they're going to lose their elections. That's where Gowdy is different than the rest. He's in a district that's plus 25 for Trump. He was unlikely to lose an election even in a massive swing year.
Yeah.
So that most of the 36 are going because of that.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that he does share with some other folks that have left, mainly Chaffetz, is he was charged with overseeing the Trump administration because he's the head of the Oversight Committee. That's not an enviable position. That puts you in a tight spot because now, for reasons that we're probably not even aware of yet. Now, remember, they have intelligence that we do not, right? Yeah. They have information we do not. So he's either going to piss off his base and say, "I'm going to do my job here and hold Trump accountable," or "I'm going to have to sell my soul." Yeah. And he doesn't have much left after the Benghazi investigation and the IRS investigation. Now, there's one other thing that's really critical in the case of Gowdy. On Tuesday, a seat on the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals opened up in South Carolina. That covers South Carolina. And he obviously, based on the statement that John read to you right there, obviously wants that to go back into the judiciary where he had served before, into the justice system, as he called it. And that seat opening up and him wanting to resign immediately thereafter is not a coincidence.
Yeah.
So that seems like a nice safe harbor for him. Get the hell out of Dodge. This thing's not going to end well. And then there's a nice soft seat for me there on a prestigious court. And then maybe he dreams that could open him up to Supreme Court one day, maybe, if he's got the right Republican president. But for the moment being, the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals is a great position.
Yeah.
If he can land it, and with the Republicans in charge, he probably can.
And if not, he's a well-known and probably well-connected Republican. If he wanted to go into lobbying, he could do that. He didn't mention it here, but of course he's not going to, but he could do it anyway. And I'm glad that you pointed out the context of his district. As you said, 25 points towards Trump, which means that he would be safe for re-election unless we were in a context where challengers were regularly doing better than plus 25 over the previous, which is actually where we are. That doesn't mean that it would have happened in this one, but there have been people getting 36-point swings over the previous fall. A little bit more background information for him leaving. This is from Politico, saying that Gowdy rarely participated in House GOP events, rarely attending the weekly GOP conference, for example. He often talked privately about resenting the increasingly partisan atmosphere, of which he had no part as head of the Benghazi committee. And he loved to say that he wished he was home watching cheesy Hallmark movies with his wife. Isn't that sweet?
So there are parts of that I believe, and parts I do not. So look, he was asked to chair those committees partly because, for whatever reason in Washington, he had credibility at that point. But in reality, to me, what was maybe even more egregious than the Benghazi hearings were the IRS hearings. The IRS hearings where we found out that no, liberal groups had been investigated just as much as conservative groups had, and that so-called controversy was purely made up, and it was made up to try to discredit the IRS so they couldn't collect taxes from rich people. And now the person who's most likely to be the head of the IRS, according to our own reporting at TYT Investigates, is a guy whose main job was to make sure that rich people can avoid taxes.
Yeah.
Yet another person who is going to be assigned to a part of the government to help destroy that part of the government. That was the whole point of the IRS investigation. So when Gowdy says, oh golly, gee, I don't like partisan politics, and he went to go help his rich Republican donors with that investigation, color me a little skeptical. Now, on the other hand, the Republicans did push him to do Benghazi. And when he didn't say Hillary Clinton should be locked up, the previous friends like Jim Jordan and others were furious at him. They're like, it was a nice hatchet job, but not good enough. We wanted you to finish her and demand that she be sent to a federal penitentiary.
Yeah.
So now remember all the Benghazi hearings, because that was the reality, concluded that there was no laws broken at all.
Yeah. Now, just for the larger context that this is a part of, this, as we said, is not just another Republican congressman choosing not to run again. It's a committee chairman. And what's interesting about this is, for a lot of people in the House, like, you spend years working your way up so that you can eventually be in a position where if your party takes control, you can become a chairperson, because that's where a lot of the power in the House actually lies. I mean, the House is a lot more. It's not quite the same as the Senate, where individual members don't have as much autonomous power, but if you're a chairman, you do have some power. So for so many of them to choose to leave implies that they don't think that that power is likely to be a lasting thing. And we want to go over some of the different chairmen who are leaving, because I believe right now it's at 8, which is
9 now.
9 now, but that's a huge number. So you have the House Financial Services Committee, the House Science, Space, and Technology Committee, which I'm sure probably doesn't have much on its plate these days since it doesn't believe in any of those things. The House Judiciary Committee, House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, House Administration Committee, House Foreign Affairs Committee, House Appropriations Committee, which is obviously a huge thing for the House, and House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, which again doesn't have much on its plate. But that is a lot of chairmen all in one cycle choosing not to go, and we're not done yet. We still got a couple more months of the primaries left where many of them could feel comfortable to resign in the next few weeks or months.
In fact, both of those are records. Record number of incumbents from one party resigning, and record number of committee chairmen leaving at once. It was a record already a couple of chairmen ago, and 2 chairmen decided to step down just this week. Frelinghausen earlier this week, and now Gowdy. And as you look at that list, if you follow politics closely, those are some of the Republican so-called all-stars. Giant names on that list going, I got to get the hell out of Dodge. Now, look, in Gowdy's case, one more thing that's relevant. So he wasn't likely to lose a seat, but he was likely to lose the committee chairmanship, because the Democrats are now favored to win back the House in 2018, in which case the Republicans go into the minority, and then those chair positions are no longer the leads of those committees, and that's also relevant.
Yeah.
But mainly, I think the 2 most important things here, and what's your real takeaways are, he wants that seat in the judiciary. It was a good time to go, and he's seen information. This is my theory. He's seen information on Trump, and he does not want to be in a position where he's going to have to stake his political career on overseeing Donald Trump.
If you like this video, bless your heart. We got a lot more where that came from. We do a full show every day, Monday through Friday. Come enjoy it ad-free by becoming a member. TYTnetwork.com/join.